Hello guys, my name is Mark from jazzguitarlessons.net. Improve your jazz guitar playing with a real teacher, and welcome to this short video lesson on 80-20, learning to hack, improve, or start to learn chord melody chops for jazz guitar. So let's start with the problem. Actually, what you've heard in the intro is a part of a chord melody written on Alone Together, the great standard, and I like to start with how this came to be, at least for me, in terms of learning chord melody and how it can apply to other students, beginners, advanced. So for me, when I started to learn chord melody, it was actually in college while taking the private lessons in the music program I was taking with Gary Schwartz. And our lessons went a little bit like this. It was, well, you're going to learn comping. Actually, it's this Barry Galbraith book, which you can see another playlist on the YouTube channel, which I've recorded every single of those. So my teacher, Gary, said, you know, learn to comp with these studies, note for note comping studies with rhythms, learn to comp on these standards, and let's do some reading, you know, basic reading materials, and let's do some chord melody. So it's like, how do you do chord melodies? Like, pick a song. All right, Days of Wine and Roses. And it's like, okay, I'll see you next week, and I want you to play the melody of it. Right, this melody, and add chords under it yourself. So explore a way to make a guitar version of it. I'm like, all right, do you mean like Joe Pass style, like adding a chord every single note and adding all these lines? He's like, no, just, you know, play the lines, play the standard, but add chords underneath so you can play it. This can cause a lot of problem because as a kid, you know, you're 18 or 20, you look at this real book chart and go, what am I doing, right? Where should I add chord? Where should I remove some? You're going to wind up playing things that are too complicated or not complicated enough. And so here's a solution. Recently, I've been starting to play and use with students prefabricated chord melodies, meaning that you have this sheet, it's an arrangement almost like classical guitar. It's a melody, it's Days of Wine, and you have the chords underneath and just play whatever's on the page. In fact, we have Tune of the Month Club, part of the jazzguitarlessons.net website, which we are publishing a song per month. Each has a chord melody and stuff. And why I started to do this with students, and in fact with myself a little bit these days, is because it gives you the chance to walk into someone else's shoes. It's be like using a George Benson solo or a lick and go, okay, that's what George Benson was thinking about when he improvised on that chord change, right? So it's a great opportunity. And actually, I've had this book for a while, maybe the past 5 years or so. And this is my hack for you guys, actually. This is it. So this is the Barry Galbraith Guitar Solos standards. There's volume 1. Volume 2 has a red cover. And you can see the link in the description below if you'd like. So this is a series of arranged chord melody. So what you've heard in the introduction is actually, I did not make up any of this. I played verbatim what is on the sheet. Even the rhythms, the fingerings were exactly that. So it's really an interesting way to get, you know, fully tabbed and fingerings, precise ways of telling you what to play pre-arranged. So it's not just a bunch of melodies with chords underneath. It's actually more than that. It's not a technique book that's going to tell you, where did that come from? It's not a technique book that's going to tell you, all right, if you get this part of the melody, you could do this with it or use that chord substitution or whatever. No. It's good, I think, to get you started, at least to get some ideas before you start to vary, because, you know, I use those personally and I start to add things in between or remove things I don't like. It's ordered in order of difficulty, so I love this about all Barry Galbraith books. The first song is For All We Know, and it's a little bit easier than the next one, Darn That Dream, and a little bit easier, and so on. The last one is Good Morning Heartache. The actually second to last is Round Midnight, and it's a pretty hectic advanced arrangement on this, so highly recommended. As a side note, you will encounter things within, say, Darn That Dream, that you'll go like, yeah, you know what, I never thought of doing it that way. And it's the case for myself. So anyone at any level can benefit from using such a book or another, you know, book of prefabricated chord melodies. And I think also, as a side note, it's working wonders for my students' technique because you get to repeat things a few times. So if you're improvising or if you're comping and you're using lead sheets, you'll never play the same thing exactly twice the same way, right? So that's a problem with jazz, is like we don't tell you what to play. We're like, here are the chords, the scales, here's a song, and you know, do whatever. And that's a problem with classical also, because everything is written out. So this is a happy intermediate ground for jazz musicians, and I think it can be a great supplement in the sense that any or all standards that you play should have, you should build your own sense of a chord's melody on top of it to avoid, that's also Gary Schwartz speaking, to avoid, you know, sounding like a sax player. You go, I want to learn, you know, Alone Together. No chords, right? You don't want to do this. Because we have the possibility to harmonize things. So even if you look at a simple song like Autumn Leaves, like you really want to go, you know, you need at least to add things underneath. So my point as using this Galbraith book as a supplement is that you will already have stuff that you work on standards. You should always be not lead or rhythm, not just comping or soloing, but you should be somewhere in between as a guitarist, because you have this possibility, and this can just maybe fuel some of the ideas in your playing. So instead of being an on-off switch, you know, either I'm playing, that's me, right? Playing super fast with a pick, or I'm ditching the pick and playing full finger style. You can find this intermediate zone. On that note, I hope you've enjoyed this tip. Great book. Feel free to let me know if you have any sort of questions underneath this video, or share this video with anyone you think might like it. We have the blog at jazzguitarlessons.net/blog and the store at store.jazzguitarlessons.net for memberships and things that are premium. As always, take care, keep me posted on your progress, and I'll leave you with some samples that I will play, you know, just a few bars from the book, and I will see you next time. Take care. Okay, here's a little sample from the ending of the first tune, the For All We Know. Okay, now here's a little bit of the start of Darn That Dream from the Barry Galbraith book. Ready? And finally, here's a little sample on I Can't Get Started, so just the beginning. I think I've fudged a little bit on the ending there. See you next time.